Warning, the player selections you're about to see may flop miserably. FPL TV cannot be held responsible for any of your own transfer shockers. Please, FPL responsibly.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Point Predictor, the series where I predict 5 players that I think will score points in the upcoming FPL game week. I can only choose one player per club, and I must follow the categories shown on screen. Before making predictions for Game Week 4, a very quick mention of OneFootball who have kindly sponsored this video. The world's best football news app is now even better, relaunching with a fresh new design. Gain access to news, scores and stats from leagues all over the world, with a brand new interface that's cleaner, simpler and smarter than ever. As for FPL, you can follow each team in the Premier League and get live updates from all the goals and assists every game week. Download it for free using the link in the description box below. So Game Week 3 wasn't just a bad week for my personal FPL team, but also for the Point Predictor as well, with none of my selections getting points last week. Doherty was moments away from a clean sheet before conceding that very soft penalty in the 97th minute. Daniel Podence ended up being injured, which I hadn't seen reported anywhere until after the game week deadline, and although Timo Werner did come close to scoring by hitting the crossbar, he wasn't able to do the business against a leaky West Brom. So let's move on to my Game Week 4 predictions now, and see if I can redeem myself for the upcoming weekend. For the defensive option in Game Week 4, this one was really tough. I think Newcastle versus Burnley has potential for a low scoring game, so either of those two teams could be a decent shout for a clean sheet. We've also got Arsenal facing Sheffield United, and in 3 games so far they still haven't scored a Premier League goal yet. I could just play it safe and go for the likes of Alexander-Arnold or Robertson, but instead I'm going to back Wolves getting a clean sheet at home to Fulham. This choice is not a prediction based on stats, because statistically Wolves haven't been their usual solid self to open this season. As well as conceding 7 goals in the opening 3 games, they've also conceded 29 shots inside the box, the 4th most in the league. Those numbers certainly aren't promising. But after a 4-0 drubbing at the hands of West Ham last time out, you'd think a home game against Fulham is the perfect chance to respond. Their opponents Fulham have scored 3 goals so far this season, all of which came in the one game against Leeds. They've fired blanks on both other occasions, not scoring against Villa or Arsenal, and generally just look fairly toothless going forward. Their game plan so far just looks to be pumping the ball into the box and hoping Mitrovic can produce something. But providing Saiss and Bolly can deal with him, a clean sheet for Wolves may be on the cards. My budget midfield pick for Game Week 4, under the price of 8 million, goes to Harvey Barnes of Leicester. The in-form Leicester, that have won all 3 of their opening Premier League games this season, happen to boast a very good record against West Ham, where in the last 11 Premier League meetings, the Foxes have won 7, drawn 3 and only lost once. A big part of Leicester's opening season form has been down to Harvey Barnes, who, due to his performances, has now earned himself his first ever England call-up. Hopefully, the news of this call-up can give Barnes an extra boost this weekend, who currently has the most shots on target in the league on 7. Having blanked in 2 of the 3 game weeks so far, the only thing that Barnes hasn't produced consistently is FPL points to go along with his performances, and I'm hoping that's going to change in Game Week 4. For my any price midfield option this game week, I'm going to stick with last week's choice De Bruyne, simply because it's not often he blanks for 2 game weeks in a row. To be fair, it's always hard to separate the big hitters in FPL, so the likes of Salah and Mane are both still great options this week too, as is Aubameyang. The only reason I'm choosing De Bruyne over the likes of Mane and Salah though, is simply because their opponents Villa have yet to concede a goal this season, whereas Leeds have conceded a fairly large 7 goals in 3 games. With Man City facing this very impressive Leeds side in Game Week 4, and with both teams having very attacking philosophies, I'm hoping this one could be high scoring, and therefore regardless of the result, and even if Leeds do pull off an upset, a high scoring game would see De Bruyne having a good chance of some returns. My forward pick below the price of 8 million has to go to the in-form Calvert-Lewin. To be honest, my assessment to begin this season was to avoid Everton and the likes of Calvert-Lewin at all costs, but I couldn't have been more wrong. The Everton forward has scored in every game so far with 5 goals in 3, not to mention banging in another hat-trick in midweek in the League Cup. That's 8 goals in 4 now for Calvert-Lewin, who just cannot stop scoring. And of course, now that he's not in my FPL team anymore, he's back to being the bloody English Batistuta once again. With him currently not in my FPL team, I'll be hoping Brighton can keep him quiet over the weekend. But for the forward below 8 million category, there's just simply no better choice right now. Calvert-Lewin is currently top for shots on target with 7, top for big chances on 5, and has also had the second most shots inside the box of any player in the league. Pretty impressive considering none of these stats or goals came from penalties. My forward pick of any price in Game Week 4 goes to Danny Ings. Southampton's frontman faces West Brom at home this weekend in what looks to be a very appealing fixture for the England striker. His opponents, West Brom, have already conceded 11 goals in the opening 3 games, the most of any team so far. It's not been a case of being unlucky to concede these goals either, with the Baggies surrendering the most big chances this season with 11, the most shots on target with 24, and also the most shots inside the box on a huge 34. All of this suggests that Southampton are bound to score at least 1 goal if not more on Sunday, and with all 3 of their goals so far this season coming from Ings, and therefore giving him a 100% goal involvement, if the Saints are to score, then there's a very high chance of him being part of it. So that wraps up my point predictor picks for Game Week 4. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if so, be sure to get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. I wish all of you the best of luck for Game Week 4, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all next week.